Hi there, Olga. My name is Ellen, and I'll be correcting this set of essays for you. Let's take a look at what you wrote. The first one is the English and Homestay letter. Here's what you said. Dear Joneses, my name is Olivia Brown. I am a participant of an English and Homestay program. I am writing to you to express how grateful I am that you agreed to let me stay in your house this summer. Okay, that's good. That's a good introduction. I think I would have liked an and here rather than just a comma. But the second sentence was great. And also, since this is a title, English and Homestay, I think you could have said the English and Homestay program. Let's see. My name is Olivia Brown, and I am a participant of the English and Homestay program. Yeah, I realize that up here it says an English and Homestay program. I guess either one is okay. Just reading it, I felt like the was more appropriate since it's in quotes. But I understand that in the task it says it with an and. So let's move on. I will be in London on 20th of July at 11 a.m., but before that, I would like to clarify some details about the country. To begin with, I am deeply concerned about the public transport. Could you please help me to find out the actual schedule? Secondly, I'm wondering if you have any supermarket close to your home. Due to some health issues, I must to follow a diet. I do not want to cause any problems for your family, so I would prefer to cook food by myself. Last but not least, I will appreciate if you can give me any advice about social rules in the United Kingdom and common mistakes that foreigners usually do. Looking forward to meet you. Don't hesitate to ask any questions about arrival time. Okay, so best wishes. Fine. All right, so let's talk about this letter more specifically. You don't know the Joneses, okay? You've never met them before. So the idea here is that it really should be a formal letter. You wrote it, I have to say, in a rather neutral style. Now, that's not necessarily bad, but as I said, because you don't know them, you may want to be a little more formal in certain areas, and we'll talk about what those areas are, where you could have been a little more formal. I thought it was interesting how you put the arrival time here. Generally, it's a good idea to follow the order of the bullets because they create a very logical sort of structure for your letter. So if you can follow it, try to do so. That's one thing. You didn't really talk about when or how you're going to get there. You just kind of mentioned it to me. And so perhaps you could have done a little more. I think that if you would put it at the end, it would have given you an opportunity to expand on it a little bit. And that's important because when you get these bullets, it's not enough to just, how can I say this, fulfill basically what they've asked you and then you're done with it. You do have to extend and expand on the bullets a little bit, all right? So let me tell you what I mean here. For example, introduce yourself. What you really said to us is your name, and then you said that you're a participant in the English and Homestay. Is that an introduction? Yes, I guess in the truest form of the word, it is an introduction, but for the purposes of IELTS, you do want to expand on this a little bit. Tell me what do you do? Are you a student? Do you work? Where are you from? Is the English and Homestay program something you've always wanted to do? Is it something required for your master's degree? So you had to go a little more into detail. Like I said, did you fulfill what they asked you to do? Yeah, in a sense you did, but you certainly didn't develop it. And development is an important part of getting a good task achievement score. Okay? All you have to do is look at the band descriptors and you can see that as you go higher up in the band scores, so does the development of the letter. Okay? So that was one thing I thought you should have done. I thought you should have done a little bit more of this. As I said already, I thought you should have done a little bit more with this arriving on July 20th, etc., etc. You could have put that at the end, and then you could have gone into more details like, oh, I have already arranged with a car service to bring me to your home, something, okay? You please do not feel like you need to pick me up from the airport, as I have already arranged transportation with other students who will be nearby in the English and Homestay program. I mean, there are a million things you could have said to just expand on this a little bit, but definitely give it some meat, give it some sauce, give it some detail and some information. Okay. Now, what you did do is you really extended this a lot, okay? This whole thing about the questions about the essential information about the UK, you did quite a bit of that. But like I said, I mean, this just itself should give you an idea of how you have to do something, clearly not as much, but you have to do some extension in this first bullet and in the last bullet. So, let's look at what you wrote here, because this is where I also found some mistakes in terms of tone. This is where I wanted you to be a little more formal, and just maybe having some more grammatically advanced sentences. So I want to spend some time looking at this paragraph. Okay, so this first sentence was fine, even though I told you I thought this should go at the end. I'm deeply concerned about the public transport. Fine. You didn't need all these commas. You could have just said, could you please help me? This didn't really make sense to find out the actual schedule. What actual schedule? From where to where? I mean, what you're asking is not really clear. So I think it would have made a little more sense if you had said something like, could you please let me, if the public transport schedule is available online for my reference? Or could you please let me know what the schedule is for buses from your home to the university? So you could have said something a little more specific here. Okay, this was a little strange. Any supermarket. It should be any supermarkets, plural. Second, I am wondering if you have any supermarkets close to your home. Due to some health issues, I must follow a strict diet, not a diet, okay? I must follow a strict diet. You could have been a little more specific here, which forbids me from eating shellfish, which forbids me from eating any dairy, any gluten, anything, okay? Now, here, it would have been nice if you had had a nice linker. So, due to some health reasons, I must follow a strict diet forbidding me from eating any dairy. However, I do not want to cause any problems for your family, so I would prefer to cook food by myself. Okay? And then here, I would, not I will appreciate it, I would appreciate if you could give me any advice about social rules in the United Kingdom and common mistakes that foreigners usually make. People make mistakes. They don't do mistakes. Okay. And then here, looking forward to meeting, ing. And again, we talked about this being, excuse me, I'm sorry, I still have a leftover cough. We don't, as I said, this is rather more formal than it is informal. And so in formal letters, we never use contractions. This should be, do not hesitate to ask me any questions about my arrival time. Okay? Even better. The best wishes was okay. It does, again, lean on the more informal. You could have said yours sincerely, which would have been nice and formal. But that wasn't a huge problem. Okay, so we've talked quite a bit about your letter. Now I want to take a look at this international marketing essay. Here's what you wrote. Some people believe that international companies have a negative impact on other countries by their advertisements, while others look at this as a part of globalization. Okay, I think there's a mistake here. As on the part doesn't make sense. This essay will consider both points of view and explain why, in my opinion, the marketing on the international level helps economics, or how about this, helps the economy in most countries. Now, I'm glad that you wrote your position. It's very important to do. You must do it in your introduction, and I'm glad you did. However, there is a little problem. That's not what they've asked you really to talk. So take a look. It says that a necessary and economical form of education. I want to make sure that you understand what the meaning of the word economical is. It's actually a different meaning than economic. Okay? So, necessary and economical form of education, spreading ideas, language, and culture. So this isn't really about the financial benefit of international marketing. All right? Far from it. It's more of an educational aspect of marketing, okay? So make sure that this isn't about how it benefits the economy, because if it is, then this isn't what they've asked you to talk about. Let's move on and see what you actually wrote. To begin with, local companies are not always able to compete with big players from other countries. To build awareness about products or services, an impressive amount of money should be spent on marketing activities. Moreover, customers should see an advertisement many times. Remember, as a result, big companies invest their money into advertising to become, careful with their grammar, in as many countries as they can. Obviously, smaller companies do not is the right word here. Again, no contractions. Have enough resources, and that is why local businesses can lose a share of the market and even close. Okay. I'm not going to talk about development here. I'm not going to talk about task achievement. I want to wait till the end. I want to continue though, okay? On the other hand, a strong competitive environment motivates not only companies to produce better products, but also to find the most effective ways to communicate with potential customers. By doing marketing for a wide range of countries, international companies spread some techniques and ideas around the world. Consequently, they set up certain standards with a D, which are followed by local players. For example, the cosmetic brand Dove often promotes natural beauty, get rid of the, and diversity, even in countries where the objectification of women dominates. To sum up, despite some local companies struggling with challenges caused by inventors' activities. I don't know why you're saying inventor. Do you mean investors? I'm not really sure what you mean here. I am sure that international businesses help to develop economically healthier structure on each market. I don't understand what that means. On each market. Let me try that again. Help to develop an economically healthier structure in each market. Perhaps this is what you mean. It's not entirely clear to me. Okay, so now we've talked a little bit about the grammar. We've corrected a lot of it and some of the vocabulary. Now I want to look a little bit at your development. Okay, so as you saw before, when I first read your introduction, I was concerned that you were going to talk about the financial benefit associated with international marketing. It turns out that you didn't talk about that, and I was really, really happy to see that. So I actually liked what you wrote here. I liked what you said. I liked this example of Dove. I thought that was good. That was a nice idea. Okay. And I liked about this effective ways to communicate with potential customers. They spread techniques and ideas, and then you use this example of Dove. Okay, so that was good. You didn't really go into a lot of the other areas, like about it being necessary. So how is something like this necessary? Well, you could have said that it's the only way that maybe some customers could learn about this, idea of diversity. Okay, there wasn't much about language or culture. You didn't really explore any of that. So you could have kind of cut out some of this, okay, by doing more. So some of this, I think you just could have expanded on a little more to make sure that you're covering the other areas of the task as well. All right, but the example with Dove I thought was a great one. Now here, I wasn't so happy. I wasn't so happy with this paragraph talking about the negatives. I thought you went a little bit too much into the background rather than dealing with this idea of marketing being an invasion and intrusion. So let me show you what I mean. You talked about local companies not being able to compete. Okay, fine. And then you said that a lot of money must be used. And then customers must see an ad a lot to remember it. And then big companies spend this money. So all of this, I felt like I was kind of like, okay, well, what's your point? What are you getting at? And I think that there was a more efficient way to express your argument and to get to the point in a more efficient way. Because remember, you only have about 40 minutes to write this essay. So it's really important to use your time wisely and to kind of structure your paragraph in a way where you're saying what you're saying and then you just support it. So I thought a lot of this could have been restructured. And there wasn't, you know what else happened? There wasn't really a lot of this about in the international portion of it. Yeah, you said other countries, but I thought a lot of these examples could have been even within within the same country. So like any country, it wasn't really the problem with international marketing per se, but it was just like big business compared to small business. So what you really needed to focus on here was the problems that international marketing plays. So for example, you know, this thing about Dove, it could also be considered an invasion, an intrusion. So like, for example, if some country says, hey, you know, why are you trying to kind of force new ideas on us? Why are you trying to change our values and our beliefs? So this is where it becomes an intrusion. All right. And then I like the idea also, if you had kind of been a little more efficient about it, you could have talked about how you know, that the fact that these companies do have these enormous budgets that they kind of possess a certain amount of glamour. They kind of glamorize, you know, oh, we're international and we're from overseas and we're whatever. And so it kind of puts other local companies at a disadvantage. All right, like makes them seem maybe not as appealing. And so that also can feel like it's intrusive. Okay, so those are some of the things that I wanted you to talk about. Like I said, I thought that you had some good ideas here. I liked it, and I liked that you were on topic. Here, though, I felt like it had some problems, okay, in this first paragraph. So basically what I'm seeing, Olga, is you've got some good elements to your writing. I'm seeing some very nice what's the word I want to use? You've got some good how can I say this, bones to your writing. So you've got the right elements to start out with, but I think there's certain things that need to be improved. If you're aiming for one of those higher band scores like a 7 and above, there's certain things that we need to do. We'd really be happy to help you to do those things and to help you get your to reach your goal with IELTS. So see if one of the packages available with us is something that you're interested in. There's essay packages. There's also the online course, which really is very comprehensive and provides all the information you could possibly want. Both options are available, so take a look and see what works for you. I look forward to working with you in the future. Good luck.